I'll try. Alright, let's do this. So now it's pointed towards y'all. So when y'all see that the shit's off, just let me know and just hit that shit record.
Who works for him? Who he paying? He's not paying.
That sounds real good from up here.
It was so.
They said they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it because they're paying them.
That's fucked up.
They need $5.
I didn't say that. I didn't say none of that blackout.
You said $5.
I didn't say that blackout. Don't believe nothing this nigga
Please
says.
hit me with that music that I need.
No.
Why not?
I'm doing the theme song.
Why not?
She got a theme song?
Don't tell me you're a fucking Pats fan.
No. I'm not doing it.
Play that Meek Mill shit.
Thank you. Play that Meek.
Play that Meek shit.
No.
Play
Why
it.
not?
No.
You got something against me?
No, I don't. I'm just not doing
Drake ass
it.
nigga, you some
Oh.
You some who nigga? You some owl nigga?
Y'all ain't shit.
I sent some hand
Just understand this shit. I'm waiting for you to run it.
What's happening?
I'm playing the theme song.
Oh man, this nigga mainstream so far gone.
But is it,
Really? You know what?
I got bars. I told you I do this.
Fucking
I do. I have it, but I don't.
I'll pass you back.
Katie, watch out.
you in that way, Katie.
Look me in my eyes, welcome to the
I'm talking shit about you. You know this.
I'm in the show with it.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta catch it with the moments hot.
You gotta set it off with that shit.
Yeah.
That's your man.
Have wet dreams at times like this and rhyme
That's
like
your
this.
man. That's your man.
Yeah.
What? All I heard was red dreams and times like this, times like this.
I want to see you go live. I ain't seen that in half.
Wait, I missed it.
Hey, I just met him and I knew he was gonna laugh. I fucking called that. I was like, oh god, that's a joke. Because I posted that movie and I fucking.
You must make it really good. Look at this. That's the lead hook. This asshole right there.
You're done out here.
Ready?
Yep. What the fuck is going on, everybody? Darkside Radio, we are back again. Rest in peace to the Pats. We already getting into it. Like out the Rebel. To my far left, Jesselyn Blue. And in the middle, we got today's guest, Mr. Chris Rockwell.
What's up?
What's going on? I'm chilling, man. Good. Yeah, because we're going to fuck shit up today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. First things first, before we get into any of that bullshit. How is everybody doing? How is everybody's weekend?
I'm doing pretty good.
There you go. Start it off.
All right. I watched a game yesterday. That happened.
Quotes.
I don't usually watch that game, but I did yesterday, and I watched Justin Timberlake. But I mean that like I watched my mom cook, or I watched
Like
my
it was
dad.
the TV was
I
watching
watched Justin Timberlake. I just watched him do it. He just Timberlaked.
Oh,
That's what I watched. You know.
Right.
That's compared to like all the other halftime shows. He Timberlaked. That's what he did.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Right?
nothing special. Like he didn't do bad. He didn't do good. He just.
He was in the pocket. You didn't watch
I
it.
didn't see it, so I can't comment.
Oh,
That's not
Here's
part
the
of my
deal. Here's
weekend
the
story.
deal. I like that. We just got right into it. I'm into that.
I just asked how niggas' weekend was.
Yeah.
You decided to
Yeah.
jump in,
How's
but
the
I'm with
weekend? He
it.
said I
That's because
watched
we
it.
already were talking about it
This is
before.
true.
Alright. So I don't
Keep
want
the
to.
momentum going. Yeah.
So, but it was cool because he was really in the fans' faces more than other.
Yeah, but he
performers.
chose a fan
That was cool.
of an age bracket that doesn't fuck with him. Like that young nigga was probably googling like, who the fuck is Justin Timberlake? Because if you notice, this nigga played none of like all of his
None of
joints
his
from like all the 2000 joints. This nigga was like 9 years old. This nigga don't know shit. All he knows is the last song, I Can't Stop the Feeling. If you listen to Z100. If he
Not
don't,
even,
if he's,
that's on the
if he's
Smurf
one of those Hot
soundtrack,
97
guys.
crossover type of white kids, then he don't know shit about Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Like you should have got yourself a nice little 15, not even 15, like a nice 20-something looking year old female, or one of your homies or somebody that looks around your age.
They
This
were all
little
down the
nigga
field.
does
What
not
happened
know
with
you.
the 9-year-old?
All right. So here's what happened.
Like his expression just made it look like, who is this guy, daddy? Like, do I have to put like alarm or whistle or something?
I was like, I think he's in a state of shock. That's
It
what I
might have
looked
been
at.
like,
I
who
think
is
he is
Justin
in a state
Timberlake?
of shock because Justin Timberlake walked right up to the kid,
Yeah.
and we're talking about like a 10-year-old kid forgot how to operate a cell phone. He was like, he looked up at him, and then he took his phone out, and Justin Timberlake leaned into like, let's do the selfie move, and the kid was like trying to figure out how to do with the thing.
I feel like he was trying to
looking
Google who this
around.
nigga is, and then he tried to come in for the selfie. He was like, "Oh shit, I can't let this nigga know I'm trying to Google him," and try to get away. It could have been that too. That would have been jokes. Like that would have fucked up my whole performance. Like, yeah, let's take something.
Really
Nigga,
funny.
did you just Google Justin Timberlake?
Yo, he must know
Fuck
Justin
outta
Timberlake because Justin Timberlake can't stop the feeling. It's,
That's
it's
like the
on the
only
Smurf
joint this nigga
soundtrack.
knows.
Okay.
It's on a Smurf soundtrack for kids. Like
But I
the
mean, it's
cartoon
on the
movie.
radio waves. But that's like the only thing that's on the radio waves that this nigga would be around.
True. That's
Like,
it.
This nigga's probably spelling NSYNC IN. That's how young this nigga is.
I'm
You gotta
telling you,
understand what
Bless
type of
his
demographic we're talking about here.
He walked. Justin Timberlake walked up to that kid, and the kid started looking for his mom. Tell me, he's looking around like, he's like, yeah.
This is the most elaborate pedophile kidnapping I've ever seen. Like, this nigga's pulling out all the stops. Like, I must feel like a very special child. Like, just like the golden child. Shout out to Eddie Murphy.
I love that movie.
I
I love that movie.
Okay.
So, okay. All
Other
right.
than that, I don't know. I saw Busta Rhymes and Morgan Freeman.
Fuck yeah, where?
That's so random.
They
You gotta
were,
explain that.
Where?
They were in the commercial.
Oh,
I'm
I
done
thought
with
you saw them,
him.
saw them. But yeah, no, that was, the commercials
was a way better
was different this year. Like,
I could lie.
Yeah.
You never let a lie get in the way of a good story. So I could just make up some shit about when I ran into Busta Rhymes and Morgan Freeman
Fuck it, why not?
on the way here.
Yeah. Some random ass reason they
No, Morgan. Okay, so like this is. So you watched the whole thing.
Yes, I did.
You watched none of it.
I was drinking.
That's a
Right,
respectable
but that's
answer
the
to have.
thing that people do when they
Yeah.
watch the Super Bowl.
If you
I
were
wasn't
drinking or
watching the
fucking
Super Bowl,
or you was
though.
at work, I give you a pass.
I was drinking. Well, we'll wait till we get to me. I was drinking though.
Let's not point the spotlight
Yeah,
over
yeah.
here right now.
Finish your story.
But yeah, the little dude from Game of Thrones is rapping Busta Rhymes,
Yo, listen,
and then
my nigga Tyrwin, son. I fucks with that little nigga.
he actually was really convincing. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
like he
I
looked
was
like
like
he was
watching him,
spitting
and at
bars.
first I was bewildered, and then I just kind of got proud. I was like, okay, he's doing it. He's like not letting it stop him. He was good. And then like off in the distance is like a painting on the wall of Busta Rhymes,
He's
and
just
then
like
he just starts
doing
going,
ad-libs.
woo! Like he just gets into it.
That was one of the better commercials, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite
The
one.
best one. That I think everybody's talking about the Amazon, the Alexa commercial with Cardi B.
Yeah, that was pretty funny too.
Yeah.
The other one was better.
Because it was basically like the Alexa app, it lost its voice, so you're trying to speak to Alexa, and now they're trying to find a bunch of different actors to fill in the voice.
It was
So you
clever.
had your man,
it was really clever.
Gordon
That sounds
you had your man
interesting,
Gordon
actually.
Ramsay cursing niggas out trying to find a recipe. He's like, it's in the fucking
Yeah.
recipe.
Yeah.
It's Benedict. You know what the fuck is wrong? I was
Remember
like,
the grilled cheese? Remember the grilled cheese? It's like,
Yeah, no, it's
it is what it says it is. It's grilled cheese. Grill the cheese.
Literally, eat it
I
up.
fuck with that.
Eat the cheese.
But then they get to Cardi B, and
It just
she says one of the
is,
funniest things I ever heard, which was like, the kid was trying to figure out how far away Mars is.
Yeah.
And she's like, he thinks he's going to Mars. He didn't even got no oxygen there, though. It was so good.
Yeah, that was straight Cardi.
It was so, and like
looked
she
at the
said it
script
so
and was like,
convincing,
I
like,
see this. Fuck this script.
right,
He
yeah.
probably added that in, man.
I'm telling you,
Improv.
it's like-
She does not
It
follow.
felt real. It felt real. Like she was like the joy that she got out of trashing the kid who was
Yeah.
just trying to like look up Mars. It was so good.
She does that for a living. She trashes people for a living. I respect that. I support it. But all right, let's get it out the way. Let's talk about this gay ass fucking New York Giants fucking commercial. Motherfuckers was doing like Swan Lake or some gay shit. I don't.
Wait, what?
I didn't, nah,
They were
it,
ballet?
It was some gay shit. It was like it was Dirty Dancing or something, right?
That's sexy.
Okay, but
That's
wait.
not
Dirty
sexy.
Dancing is not
Wait,
gay.
It's nothing sexy about your man.
Sexy.
There's nothing sexy about your man Manning holding up Odell Beckham like this. There's nothing
But wait a
sexy
minute.
about
Wait a
that.
minute.
That's,
Wait a minute.
That's
So
weird.
is there something wrong
I'm trying to visualize
if they're
that.
acting gay? Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
If they were gay, that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. But if they're acting gay, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Why?
Because it's just, what the fuck? What am I supposed to feel from this? Am I supposed to laugh? Am
Okay, I
supposed
just
to...
thought it was funny.
I didn't find it funny.
What was it? They were just
weird.
doing about like.
It was
All right,
very
so here's what
weird.
happened.
Nah.
They
Kobe
reenacted.
It was some
hit
such
me,
ass
Did you ever
shit.
see the movie Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, yeah.
They reenacted the last scene of Dirty Dancing when they do the dance number, and then like Jennifer Grey runs into Patrick Swayze's arms and he does the lift in front of
Yes,
everybody.
that iconic
Yeah.
moment.
Eli Manning did that.
With Odell.
That's fucking hilarious, man.
It was funny.
fucking
That
weird.
sounds
I just-
fucking
that
funny.
was
That
fucking
sounds
weird.
funny.
I just think
Like
you
you said,
weren't
we
the
know
target
they're not gay, so
I
they're
definitely
just
wasn't.
pretending.
What was
Yeah.
funny was
You
this
weren't the target
motherfucking Manning
demographic.
having no goddamn rhythm. That was funny.
That was-
Because in
I
the
thought the whole
beginning,
thing
that
was-
shit was like, this nigga looked like he was river dancing. He
Yo,
didn't look like he
here's
was
the
dirty
thing.
dancing.
He's not joking. Like, it's funny because he's being dead serious right now.
Mhm.
They do all the steps from the movie. You know how they're coming down the aisle and they're all like, they make him do that, and he's doing it all, but it looks wrecked. It's so bad. He ruined it. It was
This motherfucker
great.
didn't know if he was about to tap dance, crip walk, start his b-boys dance. Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on.
So
Like,
it
that
looks like they
whole
just had
portion
one
was
quick
weird.
rehearsal and then was like, all right, straight to show.
He been training for that his whole life. He trained for that more than the Super Bowl that he was in. I promise you that.
He got jokes,
I'm telling you, he put more time into that, I bet, than any football game. You could tell he was like trying so hard
he
to
really
do it.
tried, and it still didn't come together at all.
All right, you gave me things I'm gonna YouTube when I get home.
Oh, that's a fact.
Oh,
Yeah, let me know how you
absolutely.
feel. 'Cause
I will. I will.
I was not
let
fucking
you
with
know.
that. That was just different. But anyway, continue. That was your weekend. Or?
Your weekend, yeah.
Well, the
What the
weekend.
fuck was that?
Weekend. What else I did this weekend?
All right, as long as I have my phone.
No, it's not yours.
I'm like one of those people who like is looking up for their phone when they're talking on their phone. So like I watched him drop his phone and like mine's right here and I was like, okay, it's not mine. But like I'm like in plain
Yo,
view.
you had
It's
that heart
safe.
attack moment, yeah.
Right. It's only that split second, but it's
Yeah.
enough to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a-
Oh yeah, that's a fact. Or when you get up and you start and you're looking for your phone, you be checking places that doesn't even have a fucking pocket. You be checking your chest. Oh shit. Where the
Yeah.
fuck is the?
You speak for yourself. I check my chest because I have a pocket. It's called my bra.
I trust in that big. I do military presses, but I ain't never gonna get that.
To be fair, he wasn't looking at you. He was looking at me. We know that you can. We know that you can hide your
I have
phone in there.
pockets.
That's
Yeah.
his words.
All kinds of pockets.
I am not gonna co-sign that. I got a girl at home. I am not trying to get none of that.
No trouble. We want no trouble.
I'm saying you were
That-
looking at like, I don't. That happens to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what, the phone can't possibly be here.
Yeah,
There's no reason
but
to look
you
at
just freak the fuck out. It's just like, oh shit, yeah.
Okay, it's fine. I don't know what else I did this weekend. I had rehearsal for the show.
Yes.
That was cool. That went alright. I worked out my drummer. We kicked his ass
That's what's up.
because there's a couple tracks on the new record and they're tough to play because I tapped out the drums and programmed a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to figure out how to do that live. And he's a bad drummer. Like he's got chops, but he was like trying to figure out like which parts to try and commit to, and like there's like
It's like high BPMs and stuff.
yeah. It's like I mean some of the stuff has a little bit like some of the hi hats can get a little trappy, and then they're like the rhythms are a little staggered on some of them. So it's cool like when everything's together, but for him isolated, it was like him trying
Still
to
so
like
US.
pick it apart.
I'm fucking with you.
It was rough. But he got it. He's like, I'm gonna keep playing until I'm playing in my sleep. I'm like,
Yeah, that's how you gotta do it, man.
well, yeah, you don't practice till you get it right. You practice till you can't get it wrong.
I like that.
That's
Never
what
heard
it
that
is.
before.
Yeah, that's how you have to approach all this stuff. You know? But he's good. I've been playing with him for a long time. His name's Andrew Oliva, and he's bad drummer. He's definitely got talent.
Bad mother shut your mouth.
Yeah. Trying to think of what else. Yeah, that's I mean rehearsal on Saturday, and then the rest of the time just been like on social media, handing out like give people flyers, hanging posters, getting the word out.
One.
Yeah, I brought.
I did.
I like that.
I know, I was just complimenting him on the picture when he handed it to me earlier. I was like, always so smooth. Like, looks effortless.
Yo, nah.
Motherfucker.
I gotta say this though. Are you a Dragon Ball Z fan?
No.
Okay.
You
Well,
tried.
are you,
Not on
are you,
purpose.
are you
It's not
familiar?
like I don't like it.
Are you
It's
familiar?
like, yeah.
Okay. With your fucking flyer and everything I've been researching, I didn't know which form I was gonna get it. I didn't know if I was gonna get the Super Saiyan with all the fucking beard.
Oh my God! He finally started. That beard lasted forever.
This motherfucker
He
had
was chopping wood for years.
He had the Duck Dynasty jump on. That shit was long as fuck. I really dead ass thought you was about to come on this shit like on some Gandalf shit. Like you was gonna come in with the staff, talking about niggas should not pass, all this other shit. And then you had, I saw the videos, you had like clean shaven, no beard. Then I saw another one, you get the 5 o'clock shower. I was like, what form of this motherfucker are we gonna get tonight?
So you got
even his final
one
form
on the poster where it's just
so Super Saiyan 2.
This is that what that is?
Yeah, Super Saiyan 2.
It's not even his final form.
That's not his final form.
I'm not even there yet.
It still evolves. Yo, that's so funny that you peeped that for mad long. When he started growing out his beard, and we would like hang out or bump into each other at shows, of course, or he'd book me for a show and I'd come through. I always would go up to him and be like, so, still chopping the wood in the backyard, right?
Wow.
Still selling the paper towels. Like, I used to fuck with him on that.
Like, that
It
shit
was all love, but I used to fuck with him on that. I'd be like, still.
That shit was different. Like,
You didn't like it?
Nah,
I didn't know I liked it, but it wasn't when I met you, Chris. You were all clean cut. It was all smooth when I first met you. So when that new you came out, I was like, yeah, he's like a burly woodsman back there. Like he just
went
needs
from drinking beer to churning butter and shit.
Yeah, like you gotta break the sleeve of his like plaid shirt with his huge axe. Like.
So I had the beard from like I remember the last time I had shaved before that was November 13, 2016.
No shave November.
And that's when I did shave because I don't give a fuck about rules.
Rebel shit, I like it.
But because we were doing the Beastie Boys anniversary show of Licensed to Ill at the Stone Pony, and I'm like, I can't go on stage with a kind of beard. I went all the way down clean. I got the little mini sideburns. I wore my hat backwards. I'm like, I'm going full ad rock, and I went and But then that was the last time I had shaved. So the beard had grown out for about a year, right? And I knew it was time to cut it when I walk outside, and then I just felt it like waver in the breeze. I was like, I don't want to feel this on my face. I don't like it.
Your mustache.
It touched you back.
I think you'd be a dope hustler. Like if the cops rolled up,
shove it in.
Just put the weight in your beard real fast. They can't check that. Yeah, they would not think to check that. I'm gonna grow a beard and I sell weight. I think I just found the nice get out of jail free card. Like I'm winning.
Right. You can do it.
Yeah.
Tucking A's in the.
Right. Y'all know me. I can grow a beard out in a weekend. Like I can do this.
Do it.
I'm gonna see what's up. All right. I need a plug though. If anybody sells that, holla at me. What? Nah, anyone. So, your weekend.
I don't know anything for anyone. My weekend, Sunday I was pretty drunk.
Nice.
I was drunk and I was like, fuck people. I don't know, I was in my feels. I was like, fuck people. I was like, fuck men. Fuck everybody. And then I just got some wine. And I got some sushi. J. Javon?
Yeah,
I swear to God, I thought I saw him walk by my job the other day in Brooklyn. I don't know if you work in Brooklyn, okay? But I swear to God, I thought he walked past me as I was on my way to the car. I was like, oh shit. But I was in my feels, and I was like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck this. Let's eat and drink and be merry. And that's what I did for my Sunday anyway. And then Friday and Saturday, I was just hustling.
Okay.
Making extra money.
Nice.
You already know.
That's what's up.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta do what I gotta do. So I don't got really any interesting stories than that, other than I was sitting around eating sushi and drinking wine Sunday night. Did not watch the Super Bowl. Even though my homegirl did invite me over, I was like, nope, I'm too drunk to go and move around right now. So
Like you just
no, because that means I would have had to get in my car and drive somewhere. And I was like, I'm not driving anywhere.
Like you were just gonna be catatonic on the couch, like movement.
No. When I can't drive. I'll be like, the keys are over here,
That's good.
and this is where I'll be.
That's important.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I wish more people on the Grand Central would like this.
Oh, true.
I love that you heard that. That's a deep throated.
But so
Your weekend, brother.
Alright, my weekend was pretty dope. I'm not even gonna hold you. So shout out to my boo Jenny Pryor. Our anniversary was this Saturday, 6 months. So it was dope because I'm such an asshole. I love being an asshole. So I came over her house Friday. So she had like these nice little cards and everything laid out for me. This is a happy anniversary. Now she thinks I ain't get her shit. So I was like, how funny would it be if she thought I didn't get her shit? Because I already planned to surprise her at her job the next day, on the actual day. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna let this charade go on. She got mad, she didn't want to sleep next to me, she's all the way over to this side and shit. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this L, because I know when I see her face, it's gonna be priceless. So sure enough, I let her go to work. I let her think I was going to work. In the meantime, I went to the gym, worked out a little bit, washed up, went to Edible Arrangements, ordered this big ass thing of pineapples, mangoes, and strawberries and chocolate on half of the side. Got a teddy bear, got the balloons popping, rushed over to her job, dropped it off, and then I waited because I was off that day. I waited till she got on break. We went to this spot called Bar Louie by her job. We got some food, and we went back to her house. So yeah, it was dope. That was my Saturday. So shout out to her.
Well, you had to take that L though first.
I took
No,
that
yeah,
L.
you know what that is though? That's not a real L. He lowered her defenses.
Yeah.
He made her lower. He made her drop her
Oh,
guard.
that's true.
He made her drop her
Damn.
guard. That's not taking an L. That's strategizing the long game.
Yo, this whole month has been strategy. Nigga. Like, what I tell you is strategy. Yo, it's fucking chess, and I am not even a chess player. I'm more of a checkers nigga. But I'm telling you, it's strategy. Fucking Sunday, of course, Super Bowl. Shout out to Live Johnson. I was at his crib and we was chilling, watching the fucking Pets get that ass beat. Watched Justin Timberlake put on a lackluster, mediocre ass performance, in my opinion.
Damn.
I'm sorry, I just wasn't feeling it.
Really?
Part of me,
Damn, though.
You know what it
he
is?
did the little thing to Prince, which was cool. I
Yeah,
expected that,
Okay.
but it just, I was like, eh.
See, I was into the Prince thing because number one, Prince did like one of the best Super Bowl halftime shows of all time.
Yeah.
His was legendary.
Yeah.
And two, he's from Minneapolis, and that's where the game was.
Mm.
So that's so
That's true,
important.
too, yeah.
That's so important, and the fact that he had the presence of mind to do that, like that said a lot.
That
a lot
was
of
like the
respect.
pinnacle of his
And Prince was like so anti doing the holograms and everything like that. He really didn't like that kind of stuff. So instead of doing that, Justin Timberlake used
big ass banner.
he used actual footage of him from Purple Rain and like from the movie. So like it wasn't like a simulation. It was actually footage of him doing his thing, like projected on this huge banner. It was like 50 feet tall or something. It was
Not
cool.
to mention, like, the whole, like, what, 10 block fucking radius of that goddamn stadium was all purple.
Oh,
when that
so
shit
yo,
happened.
so that's true too.
That was cool.
They pulled back and like they lit the whole like parking lot and like the blocks around it to the symbol of like the Prince symbol.
Yeah, I wish I would go outside
I
and
don't
all of a
even
sudden the street lights is purple. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Nah, man.
I
nah.
know something
It
special
don't
is
feel
popping
happy.
off.
Like,
Or
nah,
we just, yeah, we think
you're
overthrow
talking
our
niggas
government
here.
just happened.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
You're talking about all
It's a
that
new world
for
order.
one camera shot.
Yeah, nah, I would have been like, nah, them niggas is here. I'm going to the fallout shelter. That's it.
I'm not gonna lie, if that would have happened, I would have thought that our government just got overthrown and a new person did
Nigga, our government
replace.
shut down for like a week. Like, nigga, we had to reboot it. We had to take out the fucking Ethernet cable, plug it back in. Like, what the fuck is going on with
Side
our
note for the
system?
government shutdown. The government shutdown happened, yes it did. And side note, real quick, not to be distracted, but that shit is hilarious because when it happened last year, and it was a mixture of Democrats and Republicans, the Republicans kept blaming the Democrats. Now it's only Republicans. So who are you gonna blame, Republicans? You helped shut it down this time. I'm done. That's the side. You can't blame anybody.
They gotta take the L.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they gotta take
Yes.
it. Speaking of taking out, so that was my weekend. Now today, mind you, I got a whole bunch of shit planned, and this motherfucker just wants to keep like trying to like jump me and shit, like trying to checkmate me. So I had her think that I was still working today because I had to pick up another present. I thought it was going to be ready by the time I was going to deliver it to her and come to her job Saturday. But no, it takes like a week to make. I'm not going to say what it is because she's probably watching or listening. But I thought I was going to have it ready, so I had to like make up some story like, yo, I got to get, like, I don't want you around me. I got to get this shit up. So this motherfucker being like the adamant motherfucker that she is, all Inspector Gadget and shit, she's like, are you at work? I'm like, yeah, I'm at work. I can't talk right now. She's like, I'm gonna video chat you. I want to see if you're at work. I'm like, my nigga, I'm at work. Like, no, nigga, like, I'm trying to get the surprise. Yeah, like, yo, that shit was blowing mine. So finally, I just had to let him know, like, listen, my nigga, I'm done. All right, you fucked it up. Like,
you gonna spoil it?
I have a surprise for you. I'm not gonna say what it is, but that's why I couldn't be around. Like, it was whatever. So that's the L I had to take. And here we are. And yeah, that's my fucking weekend. So, fuck the pets, Jets all day. Had to give them my energy for that spirit bomb.
I think that's so cute though, Blackout.
I tried, man. I be trying out.
You're trying, man. The trials and tribulations of relationships, man.
Like, for any females watching, that's all niggas want. We want our efforts to be appreciated. If you can appreciate a man's efforts, you're gonna see how far he can go for you. If you don't, then you're gonna see how quickly a motherfucker can become distant.
Yep.
So, a little food for thought. But anyway,
Yeah. I was like, it made me think about like myself just now for a minute. And I was like,
how so?
well, I mean, I don't do shit. Like, I never did the shit you did, dude. Forget about it. I literally was just going, wow, if I combined all the shit like that I did always for all, like, I wouldn't have gotten that far. As you did this weekend.
Honestly, I'm surprised I got that far.
Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. It's different. It's just a different approach. Like, do you know how to cook?
A little bit.
Do you cook much? Or?
Not really. No.
Right.
I'm supposed to go waffle nigga.
See, all right. So and that's the difference because I cook all the time. I'm always cooking and like I'm always
Chris,
like.
what's your sign? I forgot.
Yeah.
Remind me.
Yeah.
You know I still don't remember.
Sagittarius.
Yes, Sag.
Okay.
Like, fuck it, why not?
Why not? Right.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Like, is there any sign that gets the womp that you can think of, mainstream?
Scorpio.
Geminis.
Whoa, what?
Geminis.
Scorpio. What did my people do?
Geminis have like.
There's a race of Scorpios. That's what you're saying?
Geminis remind me of like
like,
Chucky
let my people
dolls.
go.
One minute they love you, next minute they're like, I don't want to be your fucking friend.
I don't know shit about any of these signs. That's all you. I don't know anything about
All right.
that.
So wait. Then tell me why you just asked me that.
Well, I just asked you that because your sign can give me a little bit of information, about your personality. And you were just discussing.
No,
like,
I gathered that much, but let's get.
I
specific.
high-fived you because Sagittarius get along well with Tauruses. And I was like, oh, you're Sag.
Okay. You understand that I had no control over that.
That
That was my mom and my dad figured that shit out on their own. And I just popped out like, hey, Merry Christmas, I'm a December baby. And you're like, high five.
You're blessed.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Just take it, man. It's a compliment.
I appreciate it. I don't see how that makes me a good cook, though. Is that what that was all about?
Listen, talk to her. I don't know.
No, I just high-fived because it clicked in my head that we're compatible. And I was like, oh, Sagittarius, yay, we get along. That's what I meant by that.
Oh, I could have just told you that.
But, yeah.
No, but it's stuff like that. It's like, I do, like, I cook on the regular, and I do a lot of little things on the regular, so but I'm also, like, not into holidays. And, like, I'm not into, like, anniversaries and stuff. It's just not how I function, But for some couples, that holds a lot of weight in their relationship. To commemorate certain dates and certain events and things like that. It matters, But it's because everybody's different, Like that works for you. Like with me, that's just like I'm just not good with shit like that, But I try to be like a little bit higher than that on the regular. But you go like way above and beyond on those important dates. It all balances out in the end. If you give a shit and you show it, then it all balances out in the end.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah. So now, going back to what you guys were saying about the compatibility, why don't you tell everybody, including me, how the fuck you two guys actually met in the first place?
Oh, this is a great
story.
story.
Great.
This is awesome.
I was like, this is great.
So
I want to give you more questions, Chris.
So there's one time at band camp.
No,
right?
what?
That's funny.
Okay, so
The first time we met, do you want to tell it? You
No,
can
you
tell
go
it.
ahead.
This is so you. You're the guest.
when you hear the story, you'll know why we're acting like this right now. So, as you know, we both do spoken word.
Yes.
Okay.
Poets in the building.
Very
So
well.
And I want you to talk about when you were poet laureate. That's something you should definitely shine later on.
We
But
can touch back
this
on that
story,
later.
yes, absolutely.
Appreciate that. So there's a poetry show. It was a love and erotic poetry showcase. It was that's what
Sexy time.
and it was about this time of year. It was around Valentine's Day, I think. So like they were doing like it's all centered around like love poems and erotic poems and everything. So
I was in a leather cat suit.
Okay.
so we got booked. We just got booked to do the same show. And how the show was set up was that in the beginning, it was going to start out light and then gradually progress to the hot and heavy shit later on. So I was in the beginning and she was on later on. So I went up and did some, like lovey-dovey bullshit with poetry. And then I'm like chilling after my set and I'm hanging out. And then I believe someone didn't show up to be part of your show.
Yes, I was missing a person that I needed for my performance. Because at the time, Janelle, the curator of that show,
Who is awesome.
Yes, she is, absolutely. Phenomenal in her own right. She wanted my performance to be really super performance. Like, she was like, I don't want you to stand on
theatrical.
stage and perform your poem. I really want, like, you to be doing something
You're in a
more.
fucking catsuit. How? Like, when you want to reenact cats on
I
Broadway?
don't-
I don't know what
She
you
was
want.
really emphasizing that she wanted to be super theatrical. She didn't want the poet to get on
She
stage
wanted
and be
Nicole
like,
Kidman,
I free rights to beatbox and ribcage, that pen to chest, or freshman ink flow, kill pins. Like, she didn't want me to get up there and just start spitting.
That's
She
what I
wanted
did.
more theatrics to it. So I was like, okay.
Would you move around like Valdo from
No,
Silicon Valley or some shit?
I had an assistant or someone on stage with me,
Nation got that.
and the guy or whatever the person wasn't there. So Janelle was like, no, well, you need to have a theatrical performance. That's what I told all the poets to come, like, prepared with. I was like, well, he's not here. I don't know. Steps in Chris.
Yo, no, you're finishing this shit. I'm not. I handed off the ball. Now you gotta finish.
So all right. This is just, okay. So the event was taking place at a very nice venue, very classy spot. It was a bed and breakfast where you could rent a bedroom for the night after the show. So the show was the
that
first.
sounds
And you know why they were doing that?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
they
facts.
wanted you to get
Oh,
it
yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Like,
it is a
we
wrap.
had strippers. When the show ended, we were partying for like 2-3 hours, 4 more hours into the night. We had strippers, and we were.
the whole
Once the show was
place.
over, all the features, the performers, we were just like, hey, we had like bottles, like it was a dope night. So, I was a great show to be booked for, right? Yeah. So I was in my leather catsuit, and she wanted to be very theatrical. In steps Chris to fill in that missing person's
And
component.
tell them what I had to do.
I think he had to get like tied up by me because I was on stage. With,
Okay.
I had like a whip because I was in my catsuit,
Nice.
and I had my black little, and then he was tied up by me, or I think I was tying
I was
him.
blindfolded
Yeah, he's blindfolded on stage with me.
and my hands were tied.
Yep. And that's how we first
Same.
met.
And I had met her
That's funny.
like a half hour before this.
Do you know what would have been perfect for you to be chanting while you're tied up? Because I've been researching.
I don't think it was anything. I think I had a ball gag in my mouth.
Yeah, I think I did get
I didn't
it.
chant shit.
If you didn't have the ball gag, you could have definitely been like, let's get free, let's get free, let's get free, or
Oh,
die.
that-
That would have been
he's
dope as
drunk.
fuck. Yes, I do my research.
That's right. Oh, yo, so something. I don't know if I was like. I know I was blindfolded because that was.
And your hands were tied. Yeah.
I know at least that, but I don't know if he had something in my mouth or
I
whatever.
don't know.
But I'm telling you, I know. I remember because I was like, I don't really get nervous.
He
for
was
shit.
out of his
I'm
comfort
like,
zone. He was really out
I have
of his
done,
comfort zone.
I've like done shows with like 1,000 people, and I'm like I've opened for huge names, and I'm my nerves are cool, but that time I don't.
What's about to happen
I'm
now?
telling you, and it was because I couldn't see shit because she tied, and everything was so like hastily done. It was like, look, will you do this? Will you help me with my set? I was like, yeah, sure. What do you need?
Yep.
Wrong answer.
But
But this was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah, this was
So
really.
this
I've
is
known
like,
him for
and
a
we've just
long
been
time.
friends ever since.
That's what's up.
That was yeah.
Since you asked.
Yeah,
And
nah,
he was on his
Right
knees.
now,
And I had him on his fucking knees too.
Wait,
Whoa,
wait a
no,
minute.
Yeah.
I don't think he was.
All right now.
It was. Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
It was interesting.
Sometimes you
It was actually I didn't expect it to be kind of hot, but it kind of was.
You didn't expect it to be hot?
No, I thought I was going to be too nervous to even like get into it. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
But that kind of it was good. Like it was cool.
That's
It's
what's
fun.
up.
That was interesting.
Yes. That sounds very.
That might be the most interesting way I've heard something.
I can imagine. I think anything that tops that is like, okay.
I don't want to hear
your
it.
lifestyle is very different. Like,
This is like, keep it to yourself.
yeah, that ass, nah.
That's too funny.
Oh,
And
that's
that
what
was
we're playing
our
now.
meeting. Wow, man, I forgot. Not forgot, but like refresh it. You just
Yeah,
refreshed it.
I think it's always great, and that's one thing I always try to do is give like a little backstory about the guests that I bring on. Because I have a history with a lot of people on here, but this is like one of the first times where I'm just meeting and getting to know you for the first time.
I know, it's
and she's
kinda
been
cool.
saying, like,
Oh, he's
yo, I
dope.
got this guy, Chris Rockwell, he's dope, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. We got the opening, put him on, let's do it. So this is all her doing.
I'm into it.
So I think it's only fair and only right we let you more so carry this whole interview.
Okay.
Because I mean, I got my questions, I'm good. But this is you. I'm gonna let you shine.
Oh,
Let you be
please,
great.
please. This is us. This is an us thing. This is
I
not
got
a
you.
me
I'm gonna chime in every now and then.
thing.
I'm gonna chime in.
No, so what? Okay, fine. Then I'm gonna roll with that.
Do you?
As we were telling our story of how we met, I touched upon my first impression of you. I was told that you were a poet laureate, like in 2010,
Yes.
of Asbury Park. Do you know when I was told that you were poet laureate of Asbury Park, I was like, tell me more. Because I had so, like, that initially gave me so much respect for you, like, off the front. Like, I didn't even know you yet. And when someone chimed in and was like, oh yeah, Chris Rockwell poet, I was like, really? Oh my God. Like, you know, because poetry means a lot to me. And for you to have gotten to that level, I have so much respect for you. So tell us a little bit about
For the
that.
niggas who was on the outside, what specifically is that?
Okay, so the poet laureate is just it's like a dedicated person who is probably the foremost authority figure of poetry in their respective scene. The United States has their own poet laureate. States have their own poet laureates, things like that, and in Asbury Park, that community, it reaches beyond just the city of Asbury Park, but it's just basically the person who, and in Asbury I can attest to this the most, because the person who they award the poet laureate is just the person who really made a dent, made a change in their scene that year. They do it every year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just someone who really did a lot for poetry. So the year that I got awarded poet laureate was the year I started the speakeasy at the Annex, which was on Cookman Avenue, and I had just this poetry show on a Tuesday night, and there's like, when I first started, see, Asbury's really nice now. It's all like, it's all
We've
fancy,
upgraded. The
but-
hookers on the corners aren't there. That's
yeah,
all I'm
but
saying.
when I first started at the Annex, it really wasn't nice yet. It was still on the tail end of it was still on the tail end of it being kind of divey and sketchy as hell and everything, and like
The hood.
and I had been doing poetry there for a long time. Like there was a place called Club Deep, and
Pause. Jesus Christ. Where are you going tonight? I'm going Club Deep. Yeah,
if that made you uncomfortable, that probably is very fitting because that place was fucked.
Yeah.
It was like, and they closed down because somebody got stabbed to death there.
Yeah,
Like,
I believe it.
It was like,
That was how
Yeah,
Asbury
you
used
got
to
stabbed.
roll.
Poetry-
Asbury used to roll like that. Oh,
It was
someone got
bad.
stabbed here, someone got shot here, the gangs were here, the prostitutes on this corner.
and that's like when I first started going there and doing, because that was like, who was there? It's like there was not much of a hip hop scene, but there was a lot of punk rock and there was some spoken word, because they were kind of like, you know, the slam poets and spoken word poets were speaking about revolution too, just like the punk rock bands were.
Yeah.
And it's kind of where I just gravitated towards. And I know there was always a hip hop presence there, but because of the old white dudes who book like pretty much every venue, they really never got a fair shake. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Trust me, I get it.
Yeah, and so someone reached out to me because they heard about me doing this, that, and the other thing, and they were like, we have this space we're opening up. We want to meet with you, sit down and talk, and have you maybe do something here. So I went, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I get a free lunch out of it. You know, they sat me down for lunch. I'm like, I'll check it out. So I went. It was like real chill. They had like a lot of like one wall was all chalkboard, and like people were like writing all kinds of cool shit on the walls, and it was like candles, and it was real mellow, and like, I was like, this is a good mood for like to do like a spoken word night. I can get down with this. So we started doing it, and it was a weekly thing, and like it was like the only thing to do on Tuesdays because the town really shut down on Monday and Tuesday. Because at the time it was really a shore town, and if it's not the summertime, people really weren't making too much money there, you know.
Right. Okay.
So that year, it was really easy to blow up. There was nothing else really for people to do, and also it was fucking cool. Like there were people who were talented as hell, and they were there every week, and it was just like it was badass, and it just became really, really known really fast. And when they give out the Poet Laureate Award at the Asbury Music Awards every year, and it was just like that year. There was a whole list of poets, but I don't know, I won. I had been nominated before, but like that was I was kind of surprised, but at the same time, like when I really thought about it, I was like, no one really did what I did. I didn't do it on purpose. I just was being myself and just doing what I had been doing for years. Right. But for that year, it clicked and it hit, and it was a hit.
That's what's up.
And then after that, it was really easy to get booked. Yeah. Because you're going on tour.
The poet laureate of the town. Like,
right. So here's the thing. Someone doesn't even need to hear about Asbury Park and know what it is. You're going to Ohio on tour. You're going to Florida. You have dates booked everywhere, right? You're sending emails out. In your bio, it says, was the poet laureate of Asbury Park. That right there is enough to at least get them to read your poetry or watch your videos or listen to your music. It's enough to get them to open that email. And that's all I needed, because after that, you know, I'm like proud to say my work spoke for itself, which was great, you know. But that really opened a lot of doors for me, having that
title.
one title. Yeah. And
it means a lot. That's a very like. That's why I have so much respect for him. When I first met him, he was like, "Oh yeah." He didn't say it. Someone else said it to me.
Oh yeah, it's something that I like to tell people.
He wasn't bragging. He wasn't bragging at all. Actually, someone
I just pull my little trophy out of my jacket and just hold it, like bring it around.
Yeah, but I was like, "Oh my god, you became poet laureate of Asbury Park." Like, fuck, man. I want that shit. Well, I don't know if I want Asbury Park per se, but it doesn't matter. Just that title alone, wherever you may be, is beautiful, and it just automatically off the bat, like you said, just that title, I was like, respect. Didn't even really know the guy that well yet, and I was like, respect.
It gets people to pay attention.
Yep.
That's true.
But you got to back that up. Like, if you get people to pay attention and your work isn't holding up, then they're gonna just pass right by.
Absolutely, and your work.
True story. My poet laureate award is like on a bookshelf in my room, just with dust on it. Like I don't really pay that much attention to it. So like I've like.
As long as you have it, you know it's something that was influential in your artistry.
I guess it like. Yeah.
It's a moment.
It was. That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. I just don't like. I don't want it to go to my head ever. You know, It's hard when you get things like that. It's like these little accomplishments. They start to add up, and you start to get like think who the fuck you are and everything. You know, like it's hard. You gotta like make sure you can dial yourself back. It's hard to do that to yourself because you have to hold yourself accountable all the time. You know. But I have a lot of people around me who are incredibly talented and hardworking, and they're gonna keep me humble. So keep each other humble. That's how you have to do that. Well, you're one of them.
Yeah, of course. Please, he's always inspiring me. We still have a poem that we need to. He's gonna play the piano for me in the background.
True.
If we ever get down to do it, because he's down at the shore and I'm up here in Newark, so I gotta.
Oh God.
I gotta spend.
When you're down in Neptune, you gotta tell me.
That is true. That's true. So, speaking about that, makes me ask you something else. So you're saying that after you got the Poet Laureate in 2010, it really opened doors for you. So that makes me think. When did you really start your artistry? When did this jump off? Like, so in 2010, you're getting the award for Poet Laureate of Asbury Park. Therefore, you have already been doing work
sure.
Before that. Before
I was doing
met you.
Poetry slams and shit, and for years before that. I don't know, like when.
So when did it begin for you? When did you really? Start
I started taking it seriously. I don't know. Maybe 2003, 2004.
Okay.
Before that, I've been writing for years, but nothing like I was taking seriously. Just like sketching shit down in like notebooks in the high school cafeteria, and like how everybody starts out.
Shit, just
Yeah, for sure. And I still have a couple of those notebooks, and I'm like embarrassed to open them sometimes. I'm like, and I close it real quick, like I don't want anything to get out.
I always say you gotta hold on to those, because when you really reach a certain level of stardom, you can sell that shit.
That's not even what I think he was gonna say. I was like, I look at him because I'm like, wow, I used to suck.
That's what I do.
That too.
I look at him like, damn, I come from here and now I'm here.
Yeah, it shows my growth. I would hope, you know what I mean? Like, it keeps me like, well, you gotta do better than that. And then every time you look at the next one, you're like, I gotta do better than that.
True.
But, he's like, sell it.
Yeah, he's talking like, how can we make multiplication?
I do not. As from one artist to another, that is always an important factor and key. But, nigga, yeah, you could sell that shit.
You know what,
too.
though, honestly, like, it's fucked up because I really need to think like that more often. Because
Business mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I got you. Don't worry. You hit me up like, yo, you really sell that shit.
Don't question.
I didn't even tell you what, but sell that shit.
At this price, at this range, have it with that person. Like,
Just
sign,
Wow.
yes, sign your name.
why not?
Guilty conscience and shit. I get what you.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I guess I started taking it seriously. You know what happened?
2003. How old were you? I'm trying to see like when
20?
you really began.
21.
Oh, your
I was
early
like
20s?
19, 21 there. And like, I was in this like philosophy class, and there was a dude who sat on the other side of the room with me. We were always like arguing with each other and like fighting about every little thing that happened. And it was like aggravating. I was like, ooh, shut your fucking mouth, you know, like. And then like because of that, like after class, we'd always be like, what's up? Okay, like you know what I mean? Like he's like a worthy adversary, you know. Like you have to respect that guy, you know. Like you can't like sleep on somebody like that because they know something you don't know, and you have to recognize that.
Yeah.
And he came up to me one day. He's like, "Hey, so what are you doing on Thursday?" And I was like, "I don't know, what's going on?" He's like, "There's an open mic in like Belmar. I was like, go check it out. You want to come?" I was like, "Okay." And like, I mean, that was the first time I'd ever gone to an open mic. Before that, like you hear about it, you kind of guess what it is. Usually, most people think it's for like comedy. You know, they don't realize that it's like a thing that could happen for any amateurs who want to just work on their craft. You know.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I guess I'll go check it out. So we took a ride up there. His name was Paul Kelly, and he's still one of my friends to this day. But we went up and checked this place out, and I was in there, and I got my ass handed to me. Like, I didn't even go on stage the first night. I was like, whoa, everyone was badass. And, like, they were such good writers, and, like, they had this flow and this delivery and cadence to it. And I was like, oh, I gotta come back here. This is cool.
Okay, that 8 Mile moment,
It
you
was
threw
like-
up in the bathroom. Oh, shit. Jesus Christ.
I just, like, they were, like, called my name, and I just threw up right on stage. I was like, thank you.
Not
And,
too
like,
nice.
No, it wasn't even like that. It wasn't like that. It was a coffee house, you know, and like there was like they were all into it, you know, and like it wasn't. The cool thing is that it wasn't like a poetry slam. There wasn't really a competitive nature out front, but out like behind the scenes, there definitely was. You're always trying to write something better than that person, better than that person.
I think
better
that's
than
part
yourself.
of going to open mic. You want to feel challenged and inspired.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, and I had never been challenged like that before I went in that room,
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know what I'm feeling, I can't really describe it, but I gotta go back there and figure it out, you know? So I went back the next week and I said some shit, and it was kind of like, you know, I don't know if like you know what I'm talking about. Like when you first start rapping, you just pretend you're the greatest shit ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? You're
Yeah.
like, you just rap like I'm the illest shit. Like you just flat out say it sometimes. Like
Yeah.
and like, so I went up there and I really wasn't nervous because I was cocky as shit. And I just went up there and did my thing and I thought it was fucking great. And some people were like, that's pretty cool. I was like, thanks. Yeah. Like, thanks. And then like I just kept going back and I realized that I really wasn't that great after a while because the people were writing other shit and I was like, I need to step it up and level up. And, then one day the owner of the coffee house, the dude who was hosting was hilarious and he was actually a pretty good writer too, but he just was like drunk all the time, you know, like, and it was funny.
Sounds about right.
It was funny, but like then he would show up late or he would just disappear in the middle of the show and someone just like, I guess I'm next, I'll go up there. So it was like,
I'll fill in
like,
the
I'm gonna
blank
figure it
stage.
out, right? So
Yeah.
one day the owner he was like, Rockwell, go up there and host.
Oh, wow.
He's late. And I was like, me?
So give me a time frame.
No.
When did this happen? Like a year or a
Maybe
few months after
a
you
year and a
attended
half
it?
after me going
So
there.
you've made a name now at this particular open mic.
I think I was just regular enough where he could
Yeah.
count on me to show up.
Exactly.
I think
Okay.
I don't
You
really
You
Right.
weren't
Right.
disappearing into the ether.
like, you try tea? Good, get your ass up there and do something. So I was like, me? No. And I told him no. He was like, come on, I need somebody to get up there. And he's like, he's too late. And he was late last week. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. He's like, all right, you're call me something. I went, okay.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. Yeah,
I was
you
like,
some incentive.
appreciate
I think
okay.
anybody would
So I got up there and I don't even remember it. The whole first couple times I hosted was just a blur. I don't recall anything. I was just walking around the
Jack up on
clipboard like,
coffee.
you're next, okay, and then you. And then I would just go sit down. And I kind of like got into the hang of it after a while. Like, oh, the next week the dude showed up, and because he never showed up. He showed up to host, and then there was
Like, nah.
and I was like, oh, because the next week I was like, oh, good, he's here. I don't have to do it this week. No, I was like, oh, good, I don't have to do it this week.
Yeah.
He's back, you know. And then the owner, Rich, he's like, you're not doing it. Rockwell's doing it now. And I was like, what?
Like,
I didn't sign up for a full-time position. I didn't know this was it. And then like after they got like exchanged words, he was like, fine, fuck this, I'm leaving. And he just left. And I was like, well, fuck, now I have to do it. Because now he's gone. So then I just went up and did it. And then after that was kind of when I got into like the swing of it. And then I was like, it occurred to me that I really had to be pretty good if I was going to be the host, because otherwise no one was going to respect me at all.
Right.
So I was like, I felt now I'm like, I got to write some serious shit and take it seriously. And like after that, it's like an addiction.
Yeah,
It's like an addiction. You can't not know it.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
And,
right. I never looked at it like that.
Oh hell yeah. That's
I
It
never looked at
functions
it
like
that,
it's like a
you
healthy.
crave being back on that stage again.
Yeah.
It's what you start thinking about in the week
how to
in
be
between.
better.
And then I'm trying to like look for other open mics to try and hit up, and then like I'm trying to get on shows, and like no one gave a shit about a white hip hop artist at the Jersey Shore. They're like, who fucking cares? And it's like, and I'm like, fine, I'll that's okay. I get it. I get it because I don't give a shit either. So I would be like, just trying to get my own opportunities and build it up from there. And now it's like another facet of what I do is like booking shows and like giving other artists a platform because they can't get it. And, you know, like it kind of just grew out of that. What I thought was just nothing, you know, took over everything.
That's what I was going to jump into because you're multi-talented, man. When I met you as the, like, you know, like I said, someone introduced you that way to me as the poet laureate of Azure Park. And you were at the show as a spoken word artist when I met you. So I was like, oh, poet, hey. But you're multi-talented. I know, like you just said, you gave me the story of like, yeah, I was writing in my notebook, just like, you know what I mean? Like, just getting my ideas out, and then you felt that the opportunity for a platform was presented, someone was pushing you, which I think that's similar to most people actually. You gotta have somebody behind you, man, who really is like kicking you in the butt, like, we see something in you, get up there, do this. I think all of us probably have one person in our lives that did or is doing that for us now. So it makes me want you to talk to us a little bit about the other aspects of you, man. Like, yes, you are a spoken word artist. Yes, you rap, but you just talk a little bit. Like, you do bookings, you do shows, you curate shows. Like, you book me for some shows.
Yeah, of course. You're super talented.
I'm just saying you do a lot of stuff. Talk about it. Well, thank you.
Well, okay, so we've talked about this very briefly before, but like in the, I'd say like beginning of last year, I had, and this goes back to what I had mentioned to you before, where I was like, it's a bunch of old white dudes booking over there. Yeah. Like, once I got in there, it was very easy for me to just get into any venue because I, you know, white, clean-cut dude who doesn't, I don't really do drugs, I don't really drink. Yeah, I'm easy for them. I'm easy for them I'm palatable for them. Yeah. But then, like, I started having, like, I remember it was like, there was, like, 3 months when I had 4 conversations with 4 different black people who came up to me and were like, hey, how'd you get into that one venue? And I'm like, oh, I just, you know, text the one dude's like, and then they'll be like, yeah, because I emailed and called and they just never get back to me. And like, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just hit them up for you. And that was like the first conversation went like, oh, I'll just hit them up for you. Then the second one happened, and then the third one happened, and I'm like, this is getting a little wild. And then by the time the 4th one happened, I was like, yo, this is now officially a pattern, and this is officially a problem, you know? Yep. Because it's hard for me to ignore. I don't really have that many other white people hitting me up going, hey, can I get on how do I get into that venue? How do I get in the show? And I'm like, it's because I was like, so the first thing I did was like I said, forward me the emails that you're sending them. I want to read them. I want to see what it is. And sure enough, they all said, I'm a hip hop artist, I'm a rap artist, from this. I'm like, they're immediately reading that and processing it as their problem. I don't want them in my club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's so many negative stereotypes that go along with rap music. But they're so easy for people on the outside of it to buy into. They're not, because they're on the outside of it, they're not buying into the positive aspects of and what it can do.
Right.
They're only, they don't understand because it's not for them. That's fine. But because of that, they don't want to understand. They don't try to understand.
Yeah.
So you have people who, I'm like, they're just shutting it down right off. And I'm like, so I had a conversation with probably the most approachable club owner, and I've been very careful to not name names or clubs because you don't want to punish good behavior, and when someone is willing to have that conversation, I respect that, you know what I mean, and when they are willing to make that effort, it's tough. It doesn't happen at the snap of a finger, and it doesn't happen overnight. So I had this one, the first conversation I had was kind of like a little uncomfortable, but I knew needed to happen.
So we gotta get these things in. Like, I don't know what you want to do.
Why do they keep getting bothered? What's going on?
So they're like, why? I'm sure they're great. I just don't like the element that they're bringing in. I'm like, well, what element is that? Like, well, yeah, they always bring drugs. I'm like, there's drugs in here when they have the punk shows and the metal shows. There's drugs. I was like, the metal bands are bringing knives into your club. Like, what do you think? What do you think? So you can't be complaining about drugs or weapons because you already have that in your club with other shows. So give me something else, because those are the two things that I would say most clubs would worry about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and let's be clear, people worry about drugs in their clubs is laughable. Come on, like, who the fuck thinks there's no drugs in my club? You fuck you. There's no drugs in your club.
Every club, someone got something in there, bro.
It's not like motherfucker got a key or a brick. Then we gotta
have a conversation.
We got a few nicks and dimes in your pocket.
I'm like, get the fuck out. All right, so that can't. I'm like, that can't be it. That can't be it. So what is it? And they're like, well, sometimes it gets violent. There's fighting. I'm like, well, is it more violent than a mosh pit?
Nigga, talk about it.
Because I've been in the show and I've been in mosh pits, and I jump off a stage and catch a fucking elbow to the face, or or straight up get punched because they're just swinging a fist. You know what I mean? And I'm like, everyone walks in here with that in mind, that could happen to them. I was like, the only difference is that this crowd is predominantly white and that crowd is predominantly black, and I really can't find anything else. And I'm putting it out here for you. If you have something that you say it right now, they're like, well, I guess you're right, But
you say it.
That's not right. That's not an easy conversation for a black person to have. That door doesn't really open for a black person because then they have to defend themselves, and that's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you shouldn't have to go in there and defend yourself when you're just trying to make a living and get a gig and
Right.
All right.
So thank you for being our Eminem.
I appreciate that.
We love you, Ken.
So that's like a thing that I've been conscious about, was trying to book diverse shows. It was actually my New Year's resolution going into 2017. And I was like, I don't want to play any more all-white shows, and I don't want to book any more all-white shows. And because it was happening a lot. And it's really easy for that to happen. Like, it's so, just to book an all-white show, I could do that in like 20 minutes and book a whole night. You know what I mean? Because there's like dudes with guitars are falling off of fucking trees. They're everywhere. Just dudes with guitars. Just they're everywhere. So I think I might have done one or two in the whole last year, 2017. And before that, it was frequent. But it's about vibe. Like, you got to put people together who have the right vibe. Yeah. People don't even necessarily need the same genre on a show. No one listens to music like that. No one says, I only listen to R&B, and that's it. Yeah. No one says, I only listen to indie music.
No one has a playlist with only one genre. It's going to move around.
Right. So why does everyone expect them to go to a show and book a show like that? It doesn't have to be like that. So like that show on the 9th for my record release is like,
talk about it.
So like there's hip hop and there's R&B on there, and then there's like some straight up rock and roll, and then there's like an indie rock band, and Lions is a band of all ladies, and they're all badass. You know what I'm saying? And like and Cranston Dean, I love that dude, and his band is great. They got chops, but he was playing the Asbury Music Awards last year, and they were like, because they're giving out the awards and they have performances, and so he was performing, and me and New Star were just chilling chilling at the award show, and we were like,
Sorry, all I thought about was when we were at your music video shoot and New Star was Sleepy Time Wolverine. Or Bedtime Wolverine.
Okay, nice.
Bedtime over.
and Cranston Dean comes out, and like they're like, everyone put your hands together for Cranston Dean. There's like a roar of applause, and he goes, "Hey, stop shooting black people!" And then just starts playing this song, and then we were like,
That's so random.
"Yo, he just
Yeah,
straight up opened his set like
The
that."
fuck?
And I was like, "What?" And then like,
Everybody
and then,
thought it was
and then New Star was like, "Woo!" I like this. And then Jules is set, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta get him on."
Okay,
because we had
Cranston
played
Dean.
here and there before that. But I was like, he's for the cause. I gotta like do another show with him.
So these are your this is for your album release.
Yes.
You are
March
the
9th.
headliner.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
what's up.
Mr. Chris
That's dope.
Rockwell.
This is the biggest local show that I've ever headlined.
So tell us, where is it? Give us all the deets. On the
It's
radio.
at House of
Can't see it.
Independence on Cookman Avenue in Asbury Park. And that was like my number one choice venue because it's immaculate.
I've never been to that one yet.
Oh, you need to treat yourself.
Yeah?
You need to go.
Okay.
The
The Strand, what was the other one? The Strand?
of the gallery.
The Strand Gallery? That was beautiful.
Which one were you at there? My the other record release I had, or just one of the No Chill showcases?
No, I think I was there when you had the lady with the fucking harp. When I had to perform after
Angel
her.
bitches at your show?
You had a lady
That's what
playing
it
the
is.
harp,
That was
yo.
the poetry
And
slam.
it was, oh yeah,
You
I
see
was
like the little Athena,
She's
like
from
little
New York,
token
too.
shit?
She's
She's
from
from
New
New
York,
York.
too.
He
She-
books New Yorkers that come to his show at the
That's
shore
what's up.
all the time. So I forgot, but this lady, she was on stage and I had to go after her. I was like,
Yeah, but you were fine. Like, let's not.
I was like that harp, yo. But come on,
You were
the
really
whole
good.
like he's good at curating as well as performing, as writing, and he's a musician. You didn't even tell us like what you can play.
Oh, true. But wait, so let's not go there right now. Wait, because you're sitting
Wherever
there
you want to
complaining
go.
that you have to go on after there was a harp and a spoken word, and it was fucking beautiful.
Fucking epic.
It was beautiful.
I had to go on stage after that. I was like, ooh.
But you killed it too, though.
Oh, thank you.
So like, I don't know what I don't know what you're complaining about.
It's just so random. Like,
Yeah,
like,
right?
You
Like,
see
I'm
somebody
saying-
pull out like a guitar, or maybe depending on the venue, you see somebody get on the keys or something. No harp.
Yo, it wasn't.
Nobody
even,
got harp.
It wasn't even like a small, approachable harp, dude.
It's
No,
one of
it
those
was
old
bigger
It
than
was
the dude.
huge,
It was
my
bigger
nigga.
than the dude
It
playing
was
it.
beautiful. And he was. I was so into the whole show. I was
The
sitting there.
vibe. The
like-
vibe.
You
was
thought
so
Zeus
good.
was gonna walk at
Yeah,
that motherfucker like, yeah,
so
what it
Daddy's gonna like float on stage. It was gorgeous.
And
But
she
I want to
had
look
a
at it. I want to make sure we get to play one of your songs. You
Oh, no,
said there's
definitely.
So yeah, how does that work? You like going on now?
Yeah, whenever. I was
Yeah,
thinking
you wanna
we
throw
should
it
throw
to
on
it?
at least one now. Maybe hopefully have time for the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Whatever you want. He has them.
I see
You will
that.
tell the DJ.
okay, cool.
Give us a
We,
little
oh, you know what?
story.
The one we should definitely make sure we do is the going away party song because it's about being in New York and being in Brooklyn.
Was that the video we shot?
Yes.
I was
Yes.
in that video. Hey.
Yeah. So, and that video, we have to shoot a lot more of that because it's not just for one song. There's like 3 songs. It's almost like a short film.
Like a little
Okay,
lemonade,
so like a story.
like lemonade, kind of like a little fruit punch.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
gonna
like
go.
that.
It's gonna continue. So we had shot that. We shot some more stuff. We're gonna shoot some more stuff. That's probably gonna come out like later in the spring.
Nice.
Okay.
Um,
So it's 3 separate songs, 3 separate videos, but they're telling one long story.
Yeah, it's not 3 separate videos. It's gonna be one long video
Oh, okay,
with
my
3
apologies.
with 3
Thank
songs
you.
in
Yo,
it.
there's so many people that do like
No.
to be continued, and the shit's never continued. So thank you for actually. I'm
Killing the trilogy.
not gonna hold you up. There was one video that this motherfucker, I think it was Lazy Bone, did a long ass time ago, where it's like some video where he was escaping out of some shit. And it's like it was to be continued. He rescued some bitch and he make moves, and I'm just like, alright. Where's the other video? And I never saw the other video. I don't know what happened to that bitch. All I know, it didn't work out. Like, he just kept niggas in limbo. Like, thank you for completing the story. Because I'm one of those people. Like, so what happened after the party, Chris? What the fuck?
So it's so funny. We were in Bed-Stuy shooting like basically the going away party sequence, and you know Jessica came through, and then I have 2 more songs that they're all kind of. I picked 3 from the record that felt the closest to a beginning, middle, and end. So they're not. It's not literal, but it kind of like will flow that way, you know. But yeah, this is. We could play "Going Away Party." It's a Verrazano song. I think that's what's going to end up being on the album. It's going to say "Going Away Party" and in parentheses the Verrazano song, because that's what everyone calls it anyway. The Verrazano song, yeah.
The Verrazano, like the Verrazano Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. All right, let's do it.
All right, let's hear it.
Hell no, keep that shit rolling. You know me.
Oh, you're on.
Traffic on the Verrazano, and she's sipping that Italiano. Open container in the front seat, and she's giggling from the Moscato. Hanging out the window when she drank the bottle.
I can feel like the summer vibe. Like, I don't think it's when it's Yep.
And we're driving to her party.
Right before the summer game.
Then she's leaving town tomorrow. Soon as we walk in the front door, that's when it starts. A rush of smiles and tears and cheers and broken hearts. Some of your friends like me, most of your friends despise me. I don't conversate with all of them, I choose my battles wisely.
I was rocking to that all summer, yo. All my friends, I was like, yo, this is like, it was like a busy rap game, just like this. I'm like, yo, I'm on fire, and then I'm like, but then check out this song on the low.
Asking why I'm not moving with you. I slowly try to answer the best way that I can. Almost sounds like we got a plan. I feel like good work, man. Much of what I say is lost to the inebriation. Liquor drowns out the feelings. Music drowns out the conversation. And it's like I'm putting on a show every time that you kiss me. Only sober person in the room, and I still feel dizzy. Cause you got a new school, a new job, a new life waiting. This was supposed to feel liberating. Say, this is your going away party. When will I see you again? I guess I'll wait a year. This is your going away party. I'll see you soon.
She didn't do nothing strange for a change. She was going to the store.
Oh, that's why we were popping all the balloons. We were really busting balloons. No, but we had a balloon fight. That's what was part of the film. That was part of the film. And then
She was going next to Ashley.
I understand that, but I'm gonna be outside drinking, so I might go be behind him, because I'm gonna deal with him in 2 hours, 2 hours. I have to put him down.
See, the last person that said that, they never left.
Us a torch.
But you don't gotta worry about that.
Just
What's up, Blackout?
Just man,
To the cause, right?
a clever beggar, a vagabond, aimless pair of boots in search of a road to drag along. And you love me for that, and you wanted the same.
When I get more
and
acclimated to
you wanted
knowing
my
her,
struggle,
then
and you
I'll tell
wanted
her.
my name,
I'll boss
but
her
I never
can't boss
offered
her
not so
around.
much as a
Yeah,
ring
yeah.
on your hand.
Alright.
When you said your goodbyes
I got your back.
that night in the sand.
In about 2 weeks, I'm gonna remember your name, though.
Yeah,
I know my name. I know I don't remember it. It's been a J. I know that much. But I'm really not gonna remember for 2 weeks. I'm gonna purposely not remember for 2 weeks. You stick around for 15 days, and then you're good. Your man said she said she's gonna be here for 15 days. We can't do that. She's gonna be alone for there 15 days. She said 15. I'm counting. She's going at 16, you know. She set this up. Nobody's used to me. I'm not even used to that. Your man, you see us at the store? Katie, what do you get me to drink? What do you get me to drink? If y'all go to the same store, you can give her the money. You get Arizona though. In a bottle. I don't like that can.
You guys chill.
It's like, you got it. Sometime.
30 seconds, guys.
You want a beach?
Don't get my tan on.
What's his shit name? Oh, man. I can't think of his name right now.
Arizona. The bottle.
Arizona, I'll do a can. A bottle.
What flavor?
No matter. Just don't give me nothing that tastes like crap. It don't matter. Use your intuition.
Darkside Radio, we back. Black Up the Rebel, Justin Blue, and Mr. Chris Rockwell himself.
What's
You heard a new joint,
Going away party.
aka the Verrazano.
The Verrazano song.
That shit was dope. That was some real springtime Honolulu's type shit.
Yes!
Like, if you don't got lime in the coconut, you don't got some bitch with some lays on, and she doing some shit with her hips, you ain't hitting it right.
You don't got a fruity drink with a flower on it.
Word,
I don't know.
If you don't got some shit with some sugar, some salt around the rim, it's not rocking right.
You know what? It was like the weird thing about making that song is that I wanted it to sound like a party song, but I didn't want it to be upbeat. So that was hard.
Ooh.
That
And
is tricky.
I feel like I kind of got it. Like, it's the part where you want to like get into it and like vibe with it, and it doesn't put you.
When you listen to the lyrics, it's like, oh.
It's kind of like mellow though, but it still feels like a party. I don't know.
It's like a lounge, more like laid back.
Lounging.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Chill.
yeah,
It would be on my chill playlist.
yeah.
All right, good.
That's what's up.
That's a good spot to be on. With
Oh,
the
yeah,
show
most
playing.
So this song we just played is from, give us the album name.
10 years in the breaking.
Talk
I like
about it, talk about it. Very interesting title.
Thank you. It was part of. So the first song, I just say that at the end of the first verse. It doesn't rhyme with anything. It's just like comes out. Boom, boom, boom. 10 years in the breaking, and then like that's the part where the song has a break, and then my engineer Zach Slater, he's incredibly talented, and he's a musician too. He's engineered for MTV. He's done tours, like countless tours with them, and everything. And he like really was like, that last line though. He was like, that's so good. It was like, man, that's awesome. I was like, I'm thinking about like what that would be like if it was like the album title. I was like, yeah, he was like so about it. I was like, he kind of sold me on my own idea. Like I wasn't even into it. I don't know. The whole record has been like, I've been in a weird place when I was making it because I didn't know. I never put out a collection of songs that were all like emotional real shit. Like I've had that on records before, but not when the whole record has never been that.
Yeah.
And this was the first time where I'm like.
So what's the creative idea behind the album? Because you're saying you put a whole album together of emotional shit from what I'm getting so far.
Yeah. So the songs, it was like me looking through all those old notebooks that I was telling you about, and like going, I can't believe I wrote this. Can't believe I wrote this. Like did that for years, and then like I finally one day looked through them and tried to be objective and not just be like, because artists are always the worst self-critics.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hell yeah.
And so you're always like going hard on yourself and like criticizing yourself. But I'm like, let me just read through this, and try and just like look at it with some fresh eyes. And I was like, actually, some of this isn't that bad. Some of it, I think I just was shying away from it because of how vulnerable it was, and I was like. Maybe I just shouldn't do that this time. Maybe I should just if I have a whole bunch of material spanning all this time, maybe I should just put it out. I might feel better about a lot of what happened when I wrote this, And actually, it was like it was real therapeutic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of time. There were a lot of times when I was making this record that I was just in like a real depressed, shitty mood, and. Like my best friend, she was like, maybe it's just because you're working on all those songs and you're like picking up all those old feelings and memories. And I'm like, why did that never even occur to me? I'm like, oh, you mean I'm processing my emotions? Holy shit, this is real life. I'm like healing from shit, and it was cool. So like, I know, right? And when I kind of like, I took a bunch of like, there's beats and there was just a bunch of good starts that I found. Like, this is a good start for that song. It's a good start. One of the starts was just a good hook that I really, really liked. That I was like, this needs to be a full song. One of them was just a beat that I had been sitting on for however long. There's one song on there that, as it is, has been sitting in in a hard drive of mine for like 8 or 9 years. And when I started, to make this record, I was like, wow, this just like, I barely touched it. It just, as it was just like fit in. And like, I was like, oh, this is gonna work. And I think I just added some guitar on it, and that's it. And it like worked fine, you know.
That's dope.
Yeah, I was like, that's the weird one, and the not that it's weird when you listen to the record, but making it
together.
Making it was the weird one. Like, oh, this was just like
Lanyard,
it just it just had a bow on it. I was like dropped it in
meant
like
to be.
kind of yeah. And then there's like there's a couple of them when I'm trying to think of like so the first track on it is called RC Cola and $5 Rum, and that's probably the one that
I like that.
yeah, that's probably the one that we was the most recent one, the most organic one. That like the lyrics were I had something, but it wasn't necessarily that old. And then Zach Slater, he like wrote a bass line and wrote some guitar and like played some drums and sent it over to me. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Can we swap out the drums? And he was like, what do you want to do? So like we went over there, we took out the live drums and put in like this cool drum loop that like we kind of tapped out, and then the song was like, wow, it just fit right in with everything else I was doing. Like, and then I was like, I got a rhyme for that, and then I kind of like took what I had and like made it into a thing, and then. But other than that, it's like a lot of old stuff that I just had to like polish, dust it off, give it some fresh eyes and put it together. And it's something that I was like, I think I was just apprehensive to put it out for a long time because of like
the content.
Yeah, because now like that's it, and and there's people who are gonna be listening to this and go, well, I know that line's about me, and like
shots fired.
Right, exactly. I'm like, this one's throwing rocks.
I'm here for the pettiness.
Right, I'm like, that line's throwing rocks, that one's throwing rocks, that's throwing rocks, and like. Part of why you don't want to put that shit out is because, like, at this point, I'm still a local artist. I'm still in my community all the time. I'm still gonna bump into her at a show. I'm still gonna bump into him at a show and kind of like, right.
I'm with it though. I'm all the way with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
I understand.
I will say
feel
this,
the same way sometimes.
I'm gonna humble brag for a minute. I will say that the more the plays go up online and the less shit people say about the shit. It's like there's a direct correlation between how many people are listening to it and how much shit someone's going to say about it when they see me. When one goes up, the other one goes way down. They're like,
okay, I get that. Oh, shit.
Don't think about it, Song has like 100 plays on SoundCloud. They're like, what the fuck is that shit about? When something has 1,000 plays on Spotify, then they're like, hey, I like your new song. And I'm just dip. Like, not mention, right?
But I know it was about me, but I like it.
Right, because here's the thing: if you want to start like saying shit about it, you have to think about what that's going to kick up now, because so many people now know that song. Right. So many people are now listening to that song. Do you really want to say like be passive aggressive on Facebook or something?
Do you want to be famous?
Right, yeah, exactly.
And now you would ever correlate it to that song.
I will Taylor Swift your ass, my nigga. Like, what up?
Like,
a whole project about you.
You're gonna live this shit. You're gonna.
Yo, Taylor Swift is probably like the best battle rapper there is. The shots that this bitch be sending, I can see her on Smack DVDs. Be like, I'm telling you.
That's too much.
Jesus.
No.
The next Taylor Swift album.
I can't.
She really,
I can't.
she's like.
That was a good one. Blackout.
I tried.
Oh, because here's what's kind of cool about her. She's like, oh, I don't care if I sound crazy. I don't care. She's like, you're still getting dragged. So, I mean, I don't really hit anybody really hard on the record. It's not about that. It's about, like, it wasn't about dragging people so much as airing shit out. And sometimes in the wake, someone got dragged. So it's not like I set out to throw rocks.
Yeah.
But,
fuck Jay-Z.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. The emo ether record. No, it wasn't that bad. But I mean, it feels pretty good. I feel a lot better. Like, it's one of those things where you're rocking this pair of kicks because you love them, because you have them for so long, and you're like, you're into them. But I gotta get a new pair. You get the new pair, and they're so much more comfortable, and you're like, oh man, how was I wearing those for so long? You know, like you wore that in and it was cool, but when you introduced yourself another way that was better for you, it's a night and day difference. It's like I was carrying all this shit around with me and wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't paying any attention to it. But once I let go of it, then I go, oh, this is how I should have been feeling for the past 3 years, or about that thing, or about this incident that happened. You know, and like so when you said like exercising the demons,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
This house is clean.
Yeah.
Yo, I saw a meme that was so on point, and it has to deal with artists. And they said the interesting thing about artists is that we will heal our wounds while at the same time exposing them.
Yes.
And I was like, that's real shit, because that's exactly what the fuck we do.
Yeah, you gotta air it out.
Yeah.
Like you're.
But that's why I completely relate to what Chris was just talking about, man. Like, there's a lot of poems that you probably have never heard from me because they're like shit. Like, you know, I am talking to someone specific, or I'm talking about a very specific situation, and it's just like, I don't know if I want anyone to even really be on this way.
Well, sometimes
like,
you gotta
shit.
create your art for you.
Yeah, so some poems I don't even share. I'll be like, damn, I kind of went hard on it. Like, it took a lot.
Somebody really got dragged.
It took a lot for me because I really relate to what Chris is saying, and I know you feel it too.
Oh,
So much therapy it can be for you. Like, I recently had a production crew turn my poem into a short film.
Wow.
That's dope.
Dreamplay Media, shout out to them. They're fucking right now. The director's in Europe. But I got to catch him the other day. So yeah, exactly. We gotta finish that one.
Yes, you do.
So just to say that briefly, I'm looking at the time as well. But I feel you. Like, I had a production company turn my poem into a short film, and the particular poem, because I gave them 3 poem choices, and they went with that one, 'cause, you know, and I was like, oh man, why they got? I was hoping they'd go with like the real political one, and you know, 'cause I'm talking about the politics in the time.
Yeah, but you know what though?
And then they went with the love poem, and it's really specifically about somebody. And I was like, oh,
Let me tell you something. You did want them to use that one. That's why you sent it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent that shit.
I know it was hot shit. Like, I knew my poem was hot. Like, I knew it was fire.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How many times it's like when people live in denial, right? Like they know the truth. They're just acting like they don't know it. You know what I mean?
You knew you wanted that shit.
That doesn't only happen.
Fuck you, Jamal. This is about you.
It doesn't only happen with denial. It happens with all kinds of shit. You're like, I'm gonna send this one, but I hope they don't pick it. But really, you do.
Yeah.
Because you know, like, here's the thing. You sent 2 other ones.
Yeah,
you gave them an out. Like, you could have picked any one of these. So you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
You could have just sent them that one, but it wouldn't have felt right. You'd have been like, I'm not ready for this. This way, you were like, I'm going to put it on you. You picked
not,
it.
nigga. You Jedi mind tricked yourself.
Yeah.
I was like, because I was like, damn, this poem is like, my heart. But there's, like, I really get that though. There's some pieces where I am really putting so much shit out there.
I got bars,
So
man.
good.
Yo, I believe it. You got jokes and bars.
I'm sorry, man. I'm here all night, guys. I'm lying. I'm out.
I'm looking at our time, and Chris is like, tell us where we can find your album, your next show, March 9th. You said that before, but repeat it again. Let us know anywhere else you're playing.
The album is going to come out March 9th, and we're going to have a debut party at House of Independence in Asbury Park, which is an immaculate, beautiful venue. I've got Kosha Dills on the bill, Drew the Recluse on the bill, Lions, and Cranston Dean Band. I am so excited about the lineup. And then I've got a whole bunch of special guests of people who I've worked with here and there, and I'm going to bring them out like just as like little surprises throughout the night. The tickets are $10, and if you get at the door, they're 15. So if you get them now, save that cash. And yeah, the album is going to be out across all digital streaming platforms, and obviously available for sale that night as well. So yeah, you can check it out. It's going to be on iTunes, Spotify, all that goodness. And then what do you want to do? You want to play another song?
Oh yeah, we're gonna play another song.
Yeah, man.
And then we're gonna end off with what we should have ended off, started the show off with. That fucking Meek Mill intro. Fucking shout out to my fucking Eagles.
Yeah.
And can we just say that we know the real reason why, Alexia, you couldn't make it today? She said that she was sick and wasn't feeling well, which might be true.
Aw,
But
come
we
on,
know
she's not
her
feeling
being
good.
an avid Patriots fan She didn't want that smoke when she came up in this motherfucker tonight.
Wait
So,
a minute.
I'm putting it out there. Like, nigga, you won't catch this work next Monday. I'm telling you right now.
Throwing
Yo,
rocks.
he's calling you
Throwing
out.
rocks.
Emma, I don't know how true that is, but he's calling you
Pushing
out.
him.
So, yeah.
That was so satisfying, and I don't even really know. That was satisfying for me.
By all means, come back next week. We got you.
Come sit in next week. Yeah, you sit
right
back,
there,
you
we
can
got
sit right there.
That's
Shit.
rough. Yeah, it was an eerie silence from all the Patriots fans on social media today.
Yeah, because like all that praying to Satan, it didn't work.
Oh,
not this
shit.
time. Like that nigga was not picking up. That nigga was doing some shit. I don't know.
He was like, not today.
Yeah, facts.
Not for you.
He didn't pay his phone bill. Something happened. Anyway, I'm gonna throw to mine, and then you can close the show off since this is your night. This is your thing, and all that good shit. Black Out the Rebel. BOK Out the Rebel is the Instagram. Black Out DA Rebel is the Twitter. Black Out the Rebel is the Facebook. Darkside Radio Bookings at gmail.com. If you have any business inquiries, DarksideRadioNYC.com is the official website where you will see and hear this entire entire episode along with all the other episodes previous. Darkside Radio is the Instagram, Darkside Radio is the Facebook, Darkside Radio _ is the Twitter, Darkside Radio is the SoundCloud, and Darkside Radio is the YouTube. So, Jess?
Yes. Find us. I love how you always put that out there, and like my memory sucks.
Trust me, I got you. It's
I know.
a lot of sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh, yep. You're right. You're right. Insider. For me, man. Yes, please check me out. My book, C'est La Vie, the second edition, is always available on Amazon.com. So if you don't hear any of my poems, there's a way to catch a hold of me and see what I'm about outside of this as well. But Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Jesslyn Blue, JSSLIN BLUE, and then Twitter. Whoever took that, I don't know. Jesslyn Blue wannabe, because that's my name. So it's Miss MS Jesslyn Blue. You can find me on Twitter. So check me out, and I'm gonna give it on over to Chris. Where can we find you, Chris?
I'm at Mr. Chris Rockwell on pretty much everything.
That's everything.
Mr. Chris Rockwell is my social media handle on everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Everything's spelled correctly too. No 3 for the E and all that bullshit.
MR Chris Rockwell. Yeah, that's it. And my website's chrisrockwell.bandcamp.com, and you can find all my music, and also there's usually merch on there, t-shirts. There's a lot of times there's tickets for sale for the shows and stuff like that. So you can check it out there as well. And right now I'm trying to find.
You gonna tag us?
Well, on that Darkside Radio _ on Twitter is
Us.
being moody.
I think it's because of the fucking period that's next to it. It's connected. I don't
We'll
know.
figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
You guys are cute.
But I'm loving Twitter love, though.
You guys are cute. Yeah, he's definitely a big Twitter person. So if you
Twitter.
connect with him on
Yeah,
Twitter, he'll be so quick to respond back.
I will show anyone who hits me on Twitter. I will show lots of love to that.
Big Twitter love. So there you go. So man, we appreciate having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is fun. This is a good conversation.
Absolutely.
This is good shit.
Try.
Good vibes. Good vibes only.
Yeah. Once again, this is Darkside Radio. We are out. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
That's his other joint?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Was that your
And
last
then
song?
we gotta get that new bill.
We could try, but
I know. Because you want to be all fucking in your feelings. Alright, we gotta get this picture real quick. You can what?